It happened quietly, almost too quietly, for a couple used to shaking headlines. In an interview meant to promote her latest professional venture, the conversation dipped almost naturally into the topic of marriage. Meghan, seated comfortably, wearing something soft and approachable, was asked whether Harry plays a role in her professional life. She could have brushed it off. She could have given a media-trained answer. She could have kept the conversation polished, rehearsed, distant. Instead, she paused, smiled, and said, "He supports me in ways the world doesn't see. And that's the part that matters most." It was a simple statement, a quiet one. Yet it carried the weight of everything they have survived. Those 12 words sent shockwaves through the celebrity world because they peeled back a layer of the most scrutinized relationship of the decade. Not the Sussex brand, not the controversial couple, not the royal rebels. Just two people, a marriage, a bond. But there was more, much more behind the way she said it. The interview continued, and Meghan began describing moments that revealed the truth behind their partnership. Not staged moments, not curated PR gestures, real ones. She talked about how Harry gives her space when she needs it, how he steps up when she is overwhelmed, how he reads drafts of her projects and gives feedback not as a prince, but as a husband who wants her to shine. She described the way he talks to her after rough days, not with pity, but with understanding, a kind of emotional fluency he didn't always have, but learned, earned, and grew into. "Harry has a way of grounding me," she said, "not by telling me what to do, but by standing beside me." It was intimate. It was raw. It was the kind of statement that made even critics pause. Because the public saw it too, that Harry, once defined entirely by his title, had become defined by something else, devotion. But this moment wasn't just a romantic anecdote. It was a subtle, powerful shift, a glimpse behind the curtain of a marriage forged by fire. A partnership that endured trauma, media warfare, institutional conflict, global judgment, and endless speculation. Meghan didn't speak about fairy tale love or Hollywood romance. She spoke about resilience, about unity, about navigating storms together. One sentence in particular resonated across social media. "We've built a life where we protect each other." That line hit millions of people hard, because protecting each other wasn't poetry, it was their survival mode. It was the real story behind their love, survival, loyalty, and the promise of choosing each other again and again, in spite of everything. The interviewer, sensing Meghan had opened a door she rarely cracks open, gently asked how she and Harry balance marriage with fame, parenting, and business ventures. Meghan laughed lightly, an honest, unrehearsed laugh, and said, "We talk a lot. It sounds simple, but communication saved us. Communication saved us." Those words landed like a confession, because most people believe Meghan and Harry became stronger by leaving the royal family. But what Meghan implied was deeper. Their marriage strengthened because they learned how to speak to each other, honestly, privately, without fear of judgment. She didn't linger on the royal years. She didn't rehash old wounds, but she gave a rare hint that during their time in the institution, they barely had space to breathe, let alone communicate as a couple. "We had to learn everything as we went," she said. "We didn't have a guide." And suddenly the world remembered. Harry was raised inside a monarchy that discouraged emotional vulnerability. Meghan was raised in an entirely different country, culture, and sphere. Their love story began under intense pressure. Their relationship grew inside a camera lens. Their marriage survived a firestorm. Communication wasn't a luxury, they needed it to survive. What she described next stunned even longtime observers of the couple. She said Harry has become her biggest advocate behind the scenes. That he pushes her to chase her passions, not because the world is watching, but because he believes in her talent, her voice, her ideas. "He sees me," she said quietly, "sometimes more clearly than I see myself." The tenderness of that line broke through the armor Meghan usually wears, because she has spent years shielding herself from public misunderstanding. Yet here she was, letting the world peek into the softest part of her life. What came next was even more revealing. Meghan described how Harry handles her stress, how he knows when she needs silence, how he knows when she needs comfort, how he knows when to ask questions and when not to, how he has learned the science of her emotional rhythm, "We've grown up together in many ways," she said. And marriage isn't about being perfect. It's about learning, unlearning, and relearning each other. It was one of the most mature, grounded things she has ever said publicly. Then came the moment that made the interview go viral. The interviewer asked, "What's one thing about Harry people would be surprised to know?" Meghan didn't hesitate. That he's softer at home than people think. He's gentle, he's calm, he's patient things I don't think he was allowed to be growing up. It was subtle, but powerful. She exposed the side of Harry that the world rarely sees, buried under headlines, royal protocols, controversies, and public opinion. A gentle man, a supportive partner, a calm presence. For someone whose life has been defined by the trauma of losing his mother, by growing up in a goldfish bowl, by the emotional coldness of the institution, that revelation struck a deep emotional chord with the public. Meghan wasn't just describing Harry, she was describing healing. The healing of a man who had spent decades hiding parts of himself. The healing of two people finding refuge in each other. As she continued, Meghan shared specific moments, quiet, domestic, almost mundane moments that painted a picture of a marriage built not on spectacle, but on intimacy. She talked about Harry reading bedtime stories to their children in funny voices. She talked about the way he brings her tea every morning, no matter how busy he is. She talked about their late-night conversations on the porch, where they talk about life, dreams, parenting, fears. "We're a team," she said softly, "and our home is where we're safest." It was a line that echoed through every celebrity news outlet within hours. The world had become used to seeing Harry and Meghan as symbols of rebellion, of controversy, of media frenzy, of cultural conversation, but here, Meghan revealed something pure. Their marriage isn't built on drama. It's built on sanctuary. But the interview took a deeper emotional turn when she discussed what Harry means to her personally, not as a husband, but as a partner through trauma. She didn't mention the royal family, she didn't mention scandals, but she explained that Harry knows the darkest chapters of her life because he lived through them with her. "He was there through every moment I struggled," she said. "Every moment I questioned myself, every moment I felt overwhelmed. He didn't try to fix me, he stood beside me." The internet exploded with those words, because they cut through every rumor, every tabloid narrative, every conspiracy not assumed. And that is why her words went viral. Not because Meghan Markle spoke, but because she spoke honestly. She let the world into a truth she and Harry guard fiercely. A truth about partnership, resilience, and unconditional support. But what she reveals next, deeper insights into the struggles, the misunderstandings, the private emotional world they've built, takes the interview into far more emotional territory. What the public didn't fully understand, and what Meghan finally allowed the world to glimpse, was the emotional engine behind her marriage. Not the public photos, not the staged events, not the hand-holding on red carpets, the real engine. The one built through storms, breakthroughs, hard conversations, and long nights whispered between two people who trusted each other more than they trusted the world outside. After her rare statement about Harry's unwavering support, Meghan continued opening up. Slowly, deliberately, like someone peeling back layers she has kept hidden for too long. The interviewer asked her whether marriage changed after the intense years of royal pressure. Meghan paused, her eyes softening. She didn't rush, she didn't deflect. She let herself sit in the weight of the question. "It changed everything," she finally said. "Not because we stopped being ourselves, but because we learned who we were outside of the noise." That phrase, "outside of the noise," became the emotional heartbeat of the entire interview. Because noise had been the third presence in their relationship from the beginning. Noise from tabloids, noise from critics, noise from the institution, noise from strangers who thought they understood their lives better than they did. Before Montecito, before the kids, before the brand deals and the healing, Meghan and Harry had lived in a reality where every emotion was amplified, twisted, analyzed, exaggerated. Their fights became public speculation. Their tears became headlines. Their fears became entertainment. And through all of that, their marriage was not just a relationship, it was an act of rebellion. A partnership that refused to collapse under pressure. Meghan described that period without bitterness, but with reflection, the kind that only comes after years of processing. "I don't think anyone realizes how difficult it is to be newly married in that environment," she said. "You're learning each other while the world feels entitled to judge every move you make." She explained that she and Harry had to grow up not individually, but together in the middle of chaos. They weren't allowed the normal stages of relationship building: private dates, private disagreements, private reconciliations. Every step of their growth happened under scrutiny. And yet, she emphasized something remarkable. That pressure didn't break us. It forced us to talk, to understand, to choose each other through everything we didn't expect. The more she spoke, the clearer it became. Communication wasn't just a tool, it was their survival mechanism. She and Harry talked through misunderstandings before they turned into resentment. They talked through fear before it turned into withdrawal. They talked through exhaustion before it turned into emotional distance. "We never let silence turn into distance," she said. "That was our rule. We didn't learn it on purpose, it became necessary." The interviewer gently asked whether there was a specific moment when she realized Harry was more than a supportive partner, that he was her anchor. Meghan smiled in a way that was both emotional and private, signaling she was about to share something deeply personal. "There was a moment," she said. "One night during the hardest time, when I couldn't breathe. My mind was spiraling. The pressure felt unbearable, and he just sat on the floor with me. No words, no solutions, just presence." She breathed in deeply as she remembered it. "That moment told me everything I needed to know about him. He wasn't loving the public version of me. He was loving the human beneath." Her voice softened as she added, "That's when I understood the difference between partnership and performance." That line alone launched thousands of tweets, because in those words, Meghan revealed what most celebrity couples never dare say. Love isn't in the gestures the world sees. It's in the silent, unseen moments that never make the news. She continued describing how their marriage stabilized when they left the institution, not because they escaped responsibility, but because they escaped surveillance. "Leaving didn't make us free," she said. "It made us honest." The interviewer leaned in, sensing there was more. Meghan continued, "We finally had space to ask each other the questions we were too overwhelmed to ask before. Who are we? What do we want to build? What matters to us, not to anyone else?" She explained how those questions reshaped their marriage. Suddenly, they weren't reacting to scandals or obligations. They were creating a life intentionally, slowly, carefully, together. And that life, as she described it, was built on simplicity: their children, their home, their shared routines, their ability to be quiet together. But then the interview took a deeper turn. The host asked Meghan whether Harry helps her professionally because he understands what it's like to be targeted by the world. She didn't answer immediately. She took her time. Then she said something that stunned everyone watching. "Harry knows what it feels like to lose the right to your own story." Silence fell in the room, because that wasn't a romantic line. It was an admission of trauma, shared trauma. Harry grew up in the public eye, but he never controlled the narrative around his life. His childhood was shaped by tabloids, his adolescence was shaped by rumors, his adulthood was shaped by trauma. And Meghan, too, has lived through the collapse of personal boundaries. Meghan explained that one of the reasons they work so well as partners is because they understand each other's wounds, not intellectually, but emotionally. "He understands my silence," she said, "and I understand his." The world often imagines Harry as Meghan's fierce protector, shielding her, defending her, fighting for her. But Meghan revealed a different truth. She protects him just as fiercely. "He has triggers too," she said, "and I know when something is hurting him, even if he says nothing." It was the first time she had openly acknowledged that Harry still carries emotional pain the world sometimes forgets because he smiles on camera. Meghan described moments where she has comforted him after difficult memories, moments where they've talked through things that still haunt him, moments where she realized her role in his life wasn't just romantic, it was stabilizing. "We're a partnership," she said, "not one saving the other, both saving each other at different times." Her words painted a picture of marriage that felt nothing like the fairy tale the world expected and everything like the truth. A marriage built not on perfection, but on endurance. On choosing to stay soft in a world that demanded hardness. On learning how to love without fear. The interviewer then asked a bold question. "How has Harry changed you?" Meghan didn't flinch. She smiled. "He made me brave," she said. "Not in the way people assume, not by pushing me to be strong, but by loving me in a way that made strength feel safe. Strength won't fall apart if she stops moving. Trust that it's okay to slow down. Trust that she's safe." Meghan revealed that Harry encourages her to take space from work when she becomes overwhelmed. He steps in, he takes over bedtime routines, he adjusts his schedule, he makes sure she isn't carrying everything at once. "Sometimes I forget I don't have to hold the whole world in my hands," she admitted. And he gently reminds me. The interviewer asked her about their disagreements because every marriage has them. Meghan didn't deny it. Instead, she leaned into the honesty of conflict. "Oh, we disagree," she said with a laugh. "We're passionate people, but we don't weaponize emotions. We don't punish each other with silence. We learned early on that unresolved tension becomes resentment." She described their rule: no walking away in the middle of a conversation. Not out of control or pressure, but because they know silence is dangerous for couples who live under public scrutiny. "We don't give fear a place to grow," Meghan said. "So we talk, always." One of the most viral moments of Section 2 came when Meghan shared a piece of advice Harry gave her. Something he tells her during moments of self-doubt: "You don't have to shrink to make others comfortable." She said he repeats it whenever she apologizes for being too passionate, too anxious, too frustrated, too emotional. He reminds her that she is not too much, that she is human. And this, she said, is the part of marriage the world never sees. The small moments where someone says, "I see you," and you don't have to hide. As the interviewer moved toward closing the segment, Meghan added a final reflection about their partnership. "We're not perfect, but we're a team. And our love isn't loud, it's consistent. Loud love makes headlines. Consistent love builds marriages." She said she treasures their privacy now more than ever, not because they are hiding, but because they finally have something worth protecting. What she reveals in Section 3, the final part of the interview, is even more intimate. How marriage transformed Harry, how he transformed their family, and how the quiet rituals of their home became the foundation of everything they've built. It is the deepest part of the story. What Meghan shared next was not the kind of polished answer a celebrity gives on a press tour. It was deeply personal, so personal that the interviewer leaned in, almost afraid to interrupt the quiet honesty drifting from her voice. Because now Meghan wasn't just talking about support or communication. She was talking about transformation, about the way love can reshape a person from the inside out. She began softly, almost in a whisper. Harry became the version of himself he was never allowed to be. The room fell silent. Even the camera operators seemed to hold their breath. Meghan continued, choosing her words with surgical care, not out of fear, but out of respect for the truth she was revealing. "When I met him," she said, "he carried so much weight, so much pain, so many expectations. He was always bracing himself for criticism, for judgment, for comparison, for headlines. It was like he was living in a storm he thought would never end." The public often forgets that Harry was born into scrutiny, not fame. Fame is something a person acquires. Scrutiny is something that is forced on them. Meghan explained that Harry spent years being defined by forces outside his control: tabloids, institutions, expectations, responsibilities he never chose. He was always in survival mode, she said, always scanning, always anticipating the next hit. But marriage, she explained, gave him something he had never experienced before: an environment where he could simply exist without performance. At home, Meghan said, he doesn't have to be Prince Harry, he can just be Harry. And the difference, she said, is monumental. He laughs more, he breathes differently, his shoulders loosen, his heart opens. She paused, then smiled softly. He's silly, she added with affection. He's goofy with the kids. He dances in the kitchen. He makes terrible jokes. He is warm in ways people don't see. These were not the characteristics of a hardened royal or a man shaped solely by trauma. They were the characteristics of a man who found a safe space to grow. Meghan explained that Harry's transformation did not happen overnight. It unfolded slowly, quietly, over thousands of micro moments. Peace is built in layers, after all, and Harry had to learn each layer individually. She described evenings where Harry would sit outside with her, letting the California sun melt the years of tension out of his chest. Afternoons where he would play on the floor with the kids, rediscovering the childhood innocence he never got to experience uninterrupted. Mornings where he would journal or meditate things he never prioritized before, because emotional well-being wasn't something he was taught to value. He learned softness, Meghan said, and that softness changed everything. Softness did not make him weak, it made him whole. The interviewer then gently asked if Meghan believed she influenced his transformation. She exhaled thoughtfully. "No," she said, "not influenced, encouraged." She clarified, "We didn't change each other. We allowed each other to change." There was something profound in that distinction, because healthy love doesn't mold people into new shapes. It creates space for people to grow into who they were meant to be. Meghan revealed that one of the most unexpected gifts of their marriage was learning to navigate healing side by side. "Healing isn't pretty," she said. "It's messy, it's uncomfortable. It forces you to face things you've avoided." Harry and I learned to sit with each other during the hard parts. Sometimes, she admitted, healing meant silence. Sometimes it meant tears. Sometimes it meant saying, "I need a moment." Sometimes it meant saying, "I hear you," even when they didn't know what to say. And through it all, they protected the core of their relationship, their home. "Our home," Meghan said, "is our safest place in the world, not because of luxury, not because of privacy, but because of intention. We built a home filled with gentleness," she said, "with laughter, with boundaries, with a rhythm that's ours." She described details the public rarely hears about. How Harry does most of the bedtime routines because he loves telling stories. How Meghan organizes Sunday mornings on the porch. How they have weekly, no-screens dinners to reconnect. How they take turns giving each other breaks from parenting. How they let the kids run barefoot in the yard to keep childhood magical, not curated. These were the threads weaving their marriage together, not the headlines, not the interviews, not the celebrity events, but the quiet rituals that belong only to them. Then the conversation shifted. The interviewer asked Meghan if she ever worries about her marriage being misunderstood by the world. Meghan didn't flinch. "I stopped worrying about that a long time ago," she said softly. "Our marriage isn't for public approval, it's for us." This was a pointed but gentle reminder that while the world dissects their relationship daily, the truth of their bond is far richer and more nuanced than speculation. But Meghan did admit something surprising: joy, sadness, injustice, love, and that intensity, often misinterpreted by critics, is what makes him the partner he is. "He doesn't love halfway," she said. "He loves fully, boldly, and without hesitation." Then she revealed something even more intimate. "He worries about me," she said. "Not in a controlling way, in a caring way. He checks in, he asks how I'm feeling. He asks how he can make my day lighter." It wasn't a grand declaration, it was a portrait of everyday love. The interviewer asked whether they still talk about the past, everything they survived. Meghan's answer was unexpected. "Not often," she said. "We're focused on the present, on our kids, on the life we're building." But she added one more sentence, one that carried weight. "Sometimes healing means choosing not to reopen old wounds." Harry and Meghan, she explained, have learned when to Harry, love is not a headline. It is the sanctuary they built when the world gave them none.